all want to protect ourselves from danger, but what if we can't? What if the danger is already encoded in our DNA? So I'm sitting in my AP biology class and it's a few minutes before lunch. My teacher is going through the slides quickly and I'm realizing that none of this is sticking with me. My mind's only on lunch. And so hours later, I get home and I'm studying for our upcoming quiz. I'm going over the teacher's slides, the cell cycle, how genes work, when I stop on the last slide about two capital tumor suppressor genes. 4 capitalized letters get my attention, BRCA. BRCA, or BRCA, is the abbreviation for the breast cancer gene. Oh, as my bio teacher explained, we all carry these tumor suppressor genes. They're instructions so cells don't grow out of control in our body. But for those cells with the BRCA mutation, there is no stop. Only the potential for cells to grow out of control and form into tumors. But out of control growth isn't compatible with life. Most instances of breast cancer in the US are spontaneous, and the average lifetime risk for a woman in the US to develop breast cancer is about 13%. But for those group of individuals with the BRCA mutation, their lifetime risk is up to 87%. 87%. If I had an 87% chance of winning any lottery ticket, I'd take it. And growing up, I'd always heard stories about cancer in my family, that my great-grandmother had died from breast cancer, with later several of her children dying from breast and ovarian cancers. And on top of that, my mother and her cousins were diagnosed with breast cancer. And at just age 3, my cousin Jolie had eye cancer and now lives with a prosthetic eye. So it was so normalized to talk about cancer in my family that I never thought about it much or what it meant to me. Until now, I suddenly remembered another thing I had heard with those stories. Those same 4 letters again, BRCA. And in the general population, the BRCA mutation affects about 1 in 400 people. For my high school, this means about 7 individuals. 7 children may be carriers. My mother and the generations before her, they didn't know about the cancer that lived inside them because the BRCA test only became widely available after my mother had cancer. While my mother had to have a double mastectomy to remove the malignant tumors, my aunts were able to have risk preventive surgeries before it was too late. Now, genetic counselors recommend for the potential carriers to test for the BRCA mutation starting at 25 years old. 25, that's only 9 years away from me. 9 years of living with uncertainty, worry, anxiety, and even anticipatory grief. And my cousin Jolie, the one who had eye cancer at 3 years old, is still only 4 years away from the recommended testing age. So what does that mean to me? This means annual mammograms, MRIs, and constant observation. And this can reduce my chance of breast cancer significantly. But this comes with side effects. And for me as a young woman, this means living with symptoms similar to menopause. And while this is a good choice for some, this means I'd still have to spend my time screening. So this leads to the only reasonable decision I can imagine. Surgeries. This means a double mastectomy and salpingo-oophorectomy, removing the organs before they have a chance to gather into tumors. Perhaps I should just close my eyes and pretend that the genetic testing didn't even exist. So, to test or not to test? That's the question. And then I remembered my great-grandmother and her daughters, the ones who suffered and died because they didn't know. But I have the gift of knowing, because potentially inheriting this disease doesn't affect who I am. It doesn't revolve around who I am as a person, my character. And I have so much to live for, and I don't have to grieve the life I haven't even lived yet. I'm able to live in the present moment because of the knowledge and technology that I have access to. And yes, the danger may be encoded within our DNA, but with technology and knowledge, I have the power to act. I have the opportunity to save my life. Because health and knowledge work together. Do yearly screenings, see genetic counselors and doctors, because health is knowledge, and you too have the opportunity to save your life. Thank you.